Hello everyone, in this video I'll be showing you how to make a Spore Druid Necromancer Wizard build guide from Baldur's Gate 3. This is one of the best multi-classes because we're taking two great Necromancers and combining them together, and they have actually quite a bit of synergy. So I think that it's best to start with the Druid because the Druid actually has quite an easy start. They're a full spellcaster, and if you have any difficult situations, you can always Wild Shape to give yourself extra temporary health. So it's a great class to start as, and Shalala is pretty good at the early game as well because you can use this on your staff and it gives you an extra 4 to 11 bludgeoning damage and uses Wisdom as your spellcasting modifier, so that's quite nice. And then Thorn Whip is also a pretty good one just to pull enemies close to you, and you can pull them off of cliffs in early Act 1. Now for our ability points, this is a multi-attribute dependent build, so we do have to make some sacrifices somewhere. The easiest way is if you're in Act 1, you can get the Dexterity Gauntlets, because Dexterity is going to give us some armor class. But if we have the Gloves of Dexterity, this is something that we don't really have to worry too much about. So we can use those. If not, I would keep your Dexterity at least 12 to give you +1 initiative and a bit of armor class, and at best to be 14. But we want to have a good amount of Wisdom. Charisma can take a bit of a hit, but Intelligence is our other main stat. And if you want to go all the way, we can just take down Constitution too. You want to get your... Ideally, you'd get your Intelligence up to... I guess about 16 and then Dexterity 14. This would be if you have the Constitution Amulet or if you're using Dexterity Gauntlets, because you will have to make a sacrifice somewhere for stats. It's just unfortunate that you got to, but yeah, we can go with that because there isn't any gloves that are super necessary for this build, so we can go with that. If you want a bit more balanced, you can take some points there, maybe 14 and 10. But for the purpose of this, I'm going to put it at odd number because we can always boost that up with an ability score increase. So this build, what makes it so crazy is that we can summon a lot of creatures in to give us a great amount of defense, and we have a lot of health, surprisingly. So Circle of the Spores here gives us the Wild Shape, but Halo of Spores and Symbiotic Entity are two of our main spells here, or actions here. This gives us temporary health and deal additional necrotic damage using Halo of Spores. This will get increased to 1d6, and then we also get Bone Chill to stop healing. As for our prepared spells, there's some that we always want to have. So Healing Word is a bonus action heal. If you have a teammate that's down, pick them back up with that. It's great to have. Long Strider can be good for buffing your party. It's a ritual, so it'll last until long rest. I'm personally a huge fan of Create Water, because Create Water with Ice Knife is great early game damage, but we also get some other options that we can use it with, and you can set up like a Sorcerer or a Wizard with lightning spells, so I really like having that on there. Thunderwave can be a good pushback, so you have a push and pull spell, so you could go with something like that since we do have high wisdom. And Speak with Animals is great just to have. Ice Knife for the combination of Create Water. Create Water can be cast outside of combat too, and you can just start blasting. And then I think Fog Cloud or Entangle are two great options. This is a concentration. They're both are concentrations, I guess, but Fog Cloud kind of has a bit more usefulness because you can put clouds around and heavier zombies kind of direct enemies around. So at level 3, we get ourselves the level 2 spells, which we want to take Spike Growth, great crowd control. We'll take off Fog Cloud to put on Hold Person, which is another amazing crowd control. It can be upcast, and it will hold enemies in place. So these two spells are actually pretty good. We do get something later on that can give us the ability to do this. So this will actually, at level 6 and 6, you don't get that same ability, but I'll show you still a pretty decent build all the way through. Someone requested this, by the way, so they want to see a 6-6, so 6 levels of each class. Poison Spray is not great. I'd take Guidance for our cantrip there, and then maybe Flaming Sphere. Heat Metal is good concentration too. All three of these do require concentration. Create Water does not. And for our feat, we're going to go with the... You can ideally take your Wisdom up to 18. If you have the Hags here, that'd be taking it up to 20. We can split them here. If you have the Constitution Amulet, you don't obviously have to increase your Constitution, but you could go alternatively all into Intelligence. But for the purposes of this, I think we're going to go split here. Now, you can take one level of Wizard at any time if you wanted to add that into the mix. At level 5 here, we get some great spells that work with Create Water and Wild Strike. So, make an additional unarmed attack whenever we're in our Wild Shape form. Not really going to be a focus of this build too much, but it's there if you need it. Call Lightning is a great... It's a concentration, so you can keep calling down Lightning and not using spell slots. That will work alongside Create Water for some damage outside of Necromancy. And I'm going to get into a little bit of the Necromancy side of things and what we want to do there. So This is the final level of Druid coming up here. So level 6 gives us the Panther and Owlbear, so two really great wild shapes, and we also get fungal infestation. So we get the zombie spores here, and this uses fungal infestation charges and reactions. But we will be getting summoning from other sources, so don't worry too much about that. And then for our final, Sleet Storm's a good concentration upsetter. So you can use that to stop concentrations. And then also, I think it's probably best to go with maybe Long Strider, because that can be given to others on your teams. Just provide a bit of utility. Now, level 7, we would get ourselves the Woodwode, which is really good, Conjure Woodland Being. For the purpose of this build, we're going to go into the Wizard. And again, you can take Wizard at any level. I recommend going with the Shocking Grasp and Fray of Frost to give us two. We already have Bone Chill, but these will double in water, so you can use water. Water and mushrooms go together very well, and the Undead. Friends is good too if you're the face of the party, but I think this with Mage Hand to throw water bottles is also great for synergy. Now we want Shield. Shield's probably one of the best level 1 spells, increase armor class by 5, huge. Find Familiar, because having a Familiar is nice, just for extra aggro spreading. Chromatic Orb, fantastic spell for changing damage types, can be upcast. Sleeps, I guess we'll take Sleep too. Tasha's Hideous Laughter is another choice, but it's a concentration. So we're going to go with that for our spells, and for concentrations, I would probably go something like this. And Grease is okay, it's just not super useful for the purpose of this build. Now we're going to take Necromancy, because this gives us, if we kill an enemy with a spell, we get double the level spell back as health points, and if it's a Necromancy spell, we get 3 times that. So Circle of Death gives us 18 health, which is crazy. And then for our cantrips, I guess, or for the spells, we do get a lot of we do get a lot of ones that are kind of crossover. So we can take False Life, Necromancy. Ray of Sickness, not fantastic. Featherfall, I guess, for utility. And then for the extra spell, Grease or False Life. One of those two. And then where this build gets really crazy is at level 12, when we can get a ton of summons. And then we can also use Wizard Scrolls, because we are a full spellcaster. So no worries there. Level 2, it's funny, we have so many spells that cross over. I think Scorching Ray and Misty Step are two really great ones. Misty Step's just great survivability. It's a bonus action. I would recommend taking that, and probably Scorching Ray just for fire damage. Now, fire damage isn't as good as lightning, because the lightning and water works together very well. And Minor Illusion, I think, is a good one, because you can group enemies together, get your whole zombie horde to surround a target, and that makes for a great defense. Mirror Image increases your armor class by 9, which is pretty good. So you'll be much less likely to get hit early on in the game. Cloud of Daggers is another good one, too. Darkness can also be used if you have a Darkness team, so like a Warlock already on the team. But I think that we'll go with something like Mirror Image is good for your own survivability. And then we can also take the Intelligence up. But there's some other options we can go with, like Warcaster, to hold concentration and use Shocking Grasp as a reaction. Alert for the +5 initiative, those are 2 other good options. But I think that even just going increased intelligence is just the way to go. We're intelligent and wise. At level 5, we get ourselves the level 3 spells, and haste is a huge one that we want to take. And as well as Glyph of Warding, because Glyph of Warding we can set down outside of combat, and it just allows us to deal a bit more damage. Counterspell is also another one we'd like to take. So we can go and take our spells here, and then at final level, this is where it comes together. So Undead Thralls, when you use Animate Dead, you raise an additional corpse, and creatures created with Animate Dead have additional health points equal to your wizard level, and your proficiency bonuses added to their damage. So that's pretty good. Gives us a bit stronger Undead. And then we get this Always Prepared, so we can create zombies from corpses. I think that the best spells to take would be Counterspell, so stop a spell from being cast, and then Lightning Bolt, because that goes alongside a little bit of the water theme I was talking about, just having extra synergy for other teammates. Fireball's pretty okay too, but I think Lightning Bolt just ends up being higher damage and has better synergy with the team. Vampiric Touch is also, I guess, a really good spell, and I guess for the purposes of this, we won't take Lightning Bolt, but you can. Vampiric Touch just gives us the Necromancy spell to get health back, so we'll take this for our spells. We do have a lot of spell slots you're going to see, so that can kind of work in our favor here. So, see, we got all the way up to level 6, because we are a full spellcaster, so the usual go about, we do have like a wild shape form there. We have 2 charges, so if we ever have like an uh-oh moment, we can go into our wild shape bear here, and this gives us a bit of temporary health. So 65 there, and we got that twice, so this can help out if we're getting stomped, because you can just go and pop into your wild shape to give yourself some extra defense. But your usual will be the raising the fungal corpses, and this is a really cool animation. I think that this is one of the coolest coolest in the game for sure. But with this, we can raise a fungal corpse, and I would also recommend just having as many summons with you at any given time, because it just helps out with the spreading of aggro, because they're going to attack these as well. So as for gear, this is where the build gets really interesting, because we have this staff here, which can give us the when you kill a target with a spell, they greedily absorb its energy and gain life essence until their long rest. That means we can cast another necromancy spell. And I don't know if I have it on this, but you can get scrolls of Circle of Death. There it is. So we can learn the spell here, and then we go into our spells and go to wizard spells, and then we got ourselves Circle of Death there, so we can pop that into the mix. And then here we go, Circle of Death, level 6 spell. And we don't have many level 6 spells, so that gives us 1 at least. And the big thing about this is the staff is going to allow us to continually spam it. Plus the Necromancer part of our build allows us to get 18 health back on successful kill with it. So it gets pretty crazy. And I guess for the rest of the gear, we can go with the Circlet of Bones. The reason this is easy to get in Act 2. Allied undead within 6 meters are resistant to bludgeoning, slashing, and piercing damage, and you get a free cast of Animate Dead. So that's good for just conserving spell slots. But also, it gives you the ability to have your summons last a lot longer, because they take half damage. So that's huge. I think that's probably the best in slot for this particular build. And then Cloak of Protection for +1 armor class, which is nice. This is another big point of this build, is the Armor of the Spore Keeper. So we get +1 spell save, deal additional 1 necrotic damage, and when we get imbued with our symbiotic entity, we get some extra spells. So we cast this on ourselves, and then you're going to see here we get Bitter Bangs, so this does poison damage. Haste Spores, which we'll get into because that's the best thing in this build. And then we also get the befuddling Timmath Spores. But Haste Spores here, so we pop this down, this area gives us haste. So bonus, we get an extra action there, and then our summons can also benefit from this too. So 2 actions, and then we can give that to all of our zombies, all of our team. All you have to do is run into it in combat, and then you get yourself the haste. So it gets crazy, because we can cast Circle of Death, get 18 health back, get our extra action, cast it again, and you can heal yourself pretty much to full. I would recommend having the Constitution Amulet, because the more health you have, the more you can heal back, and that's just a big component of this build. Ring of Protection gives you +1 armor class, and then the Crypt Lord ring will give you a level 6 Create Undead spell. That's pretty huge. So we can give ourselves the ability to raise another undead, and this one's even stronger. It's a level 6 necromancy spell, so it would normally just take a level 6 spell slot, but we can cast it for free, which is massive. So what makes this build so crazy is we got these 2 spells here to give us health back. We got the ability to put down Sleep, Glyph of Warding, which our undead are immune to, so we can set up sleep on the battlefield, we can set up damage, we can set up water, we can go and change our chromatic orbs around, so we got lots of versatility. We got plant growth to hold things in place, so we got crowd control, we got summons. I would also recommend getting a Conjure Elemental scroll, so that you can take Conjure Elemental, and then also Conjure Minor Elemental, so that you can, I don't think I have them on this play file. So yeah, you can take in minor elementals, get 2 ice methods, which, as I said, you want water for that, I guess, easy ability to abuse the water and get double damage. It's pretty huge in this game. And then also on top of that, we can grab the major elemental and take like a water myrmidon to set up water for you, or you can go with like the earth Titan there that deals a lot of knockdown damage. But yeah, that's what I think to be the strongest 6/6, so 6 level Spore Druid, 6 levels Necromancer Wizard build guide from Baldur's Gate 3. Thank you so much for watching. If you found this video useful, please hit the subscribe button below, and I'll see you all in the next video.